Shalom, brothers. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahshua. It's the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. We want to give salutations to all Yakim on the highways and byways and co-laborers, and let you know that we're truly living in the last minutes, man, of this kingdom, and the Most High is truly getting ready to set up the elect men of Israel. You know, the founding fathers, so to speak, of this new kingdom that's going to come usher into play, the kingdom that's been promised to us about, since the beginning of time. We want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And, it's me and the brother Amos, man, we're here with another show. Hopefully, Lord willing, it's edifying and or comforting, or all of them, It encourages you brothers to, to get more in the spirit and get in tune with the spirit, because things are happening, So, Lord willing, we entitled this video New Creature, something of that sort, because when you get into this truth, you realize that the Heavenly Father is creating something new in you, and something new in the brothers, like the brotherhood, this thing that we got, this thing of trust, of honor and loyalties, of the standard that's held by the scriptures, is something new to us, man. We haven't been taught the ways, and the world doesn't teach us the ways of righteousness, the ways of the scriptures, you know what I mean? So it's a learning process for us, because in this learning process, the Heavenly Father is creating something new in us, man, and that's something that people that's in the world, that's not even in the truth, not talking about the Israelite groups, but people in the world should be able to feel and sense off you, man. You should be different from everybody else in the world, because you are, and they should
give you a testimony, bro.
Yeah, con. Well, so I was at work the other day, and my boss, he asked me what was I, and I told him, I said, what do you mean what I? He said, where you from? And I said, I'm from here. I kind of knew what he was saying, but I hate that term, African American. I hate black, so you know what I'm saying. And you don't want to get all into it with him, you know what I'm saying. So I said, I'm from here. Then he said, you are different. Now I kind of gave him an opportunity to back out of what he was saying, because I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying. He said, you are different. I'm like, what do you mean different? I look different? Then he said, no, you are different. Then he went into like, I've been here for 15 years and then what he wanted to say was like, I never seen a guy like you. So in a sense, carnally, I didn't know if he was insulting me, not insulting me, giving me a compliment, or insulting my whole race of people, because of the way, through the spirit, we know how Jake act. But when you in the world, man, people are supposed to look at you different, because we're a monument, right? A monument is something something to be gazed at, something to be looked at, something to be referenced, you know what I'm saying? And steered at in awe. So you on an example, being a Yashala, a Prince of Power, those should be in your mind. You on an example of what to be, how to act, how to conduct yourself, Yep.
We're right now, we're in the beginning stages of, our kingdom being handed over to us, So like the brother said, we're a monument. If you could get a scripture real quick. Yep. This Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. This is one of my favorite chapters, because it points out how the other nations are going to come to us in want of instruction, in need of instruction, and right now, like the brothers, going into with his testimony, we're starting to exude that. You if you don't go through your day feeling different than everybody else, then you're not doing something you ain't doing right. You should feel different than everybody else. You should be at work saying to them, I wouldn't do it like that. You should be at work feeling out of place and being an outcast. You should feel like an outcast, because you are. The scriptures say in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, that Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, that we be a peculiar people. So that's starting right now. That's starting now. Go ahead, bro, with that.
Yep. You want to start the 5th verse?
No, start the first one.
All right, this is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1.
Yep.
The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And it shall come to pass that in the last days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established.
Right. The mountain of the Lord's house shall be established, or the government of the Lord's house shall be established. That government is the nation of Israel, those elect men that are going to be delivered, that 144,000. That's the mountain that's going to be established. Go ahead.
Yep. A mountain, and it shall come to pass that in the last days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established.
Right.
And the tops of the mountains.
Right.
Shall be exalted above the hills.
Right.
And the nations shall flow into it.
Right. So it shall be exalted amongst all these other so-called governments, all these so-called nations. our nation is going to be exalted above them all. Go ahead.
And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the Most High of Jacob, and he shall teach us of his ways.
Right, so we're going to be teaching the whole world of our ways. So it's only right that we carry ourselves different than the rest of the world does. The scriptures say this, that the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduceth him. So with that being said, we should carry ourselves in a way where it's people like, for instance, I'll give you another analogy. When you see a moth or a butterfly or some kind of insect flocking to light, it's the same thing. Israel is the light of the earth. So naturally, the other nations and other people, they're gonna flock to you, man, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be. You know, Adama, tells us stories all the time about how people flock to him, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be, because we're the light of the earth. No one else on the earth is thinking the things that we're thinking, teaching the things we're teaching, saying the things we're saying, hoping for the things that we're hoping for. No one, just us. So you're the light of the earth, and you should carry yourself that way.
If I can add too real quick, bro. Because oftentimes we think of when the scripture said that, come, let us go to the mountain of Jacob. Oftentimes you think of when the kingdom of heaven starts, it's going to be something that's like the Most High is going to wave a magic wand, and then poof, you're going to turn into that man.
Right.
It's going to be a process.
Right.
It's going to be.
You said that.
You think it's going to be a process to creating these people. You know what I'm saying? The kingdom of heaven. All these places, you got to remember that these places were people before it was a place. Right. Alexandria was a person that walked the earth, and then Alexandria became, the nation of Edom. Israel was a person. So likewise, the kingdom of heaven are going to be made up of people, of the elect men. We're a people first before this kingdom is going to come. Like the scriptures say, it's not here nor there. It's something that's going to be established on the earth. But the first thing that needs to be established is these people, and there has to be a transformation from us shaking up out of the dirt, like it says in Daniel, the 12th chapter. There has to be a transformation, and that transformation is taking place. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you should see amongst yourself and amongst your brethren. Like, you should see your brother growing in the truth. Like, you see him coming to the truth, and you start to see him go through levels and go through stages. It's a process that's happening, and this is the main point of this lesson that we want to talk to you about. If you don't see this process happening, then, like the brother said earlier, you're doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Let me read this real quick.
Yep.
This is Philippians 2:5. It says, let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua the Messiah, who being in the form of the Most High thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High. So what does it say in the scriptures? The scriptures say this, that to be ye perfect as my Father in heaven is perfect. That's the mind that was in Yahushua. He was trying to attain perfection, and likewise you should be too. And it's gonna show in your behavior. That was it.
Always trying to get better, always trying to do things, and it could be anything. It could be at work, it could be at home, or it could be, no matter what you're doing, there's always that strive for protection and that strive for perfection, and that strive to do things better than you've done it before. You know what I'm saying? Always.
Let me read this scripture right here, because this is going into what you're talking about. You're saying it's a process. This is 1 Corinthians 15:41. It says this, there is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body, and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, the last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
The evolution, and always being in an evolving state of change, but change for what? Change for the better, Go ahead, bro.
Right, it says, and so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterwards that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. and is the earth as Salaki. As the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, and as the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now here's the point I was getting to. It says, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. There's a part of here in here, Salaki brother. It says how it is sown. It talks about a seed being sown. Let me find this.
That change is what's coming. You know what I'm saying? That swagger that you see amongst brethren, that confidence, that faith, the boldness. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge is increasing because the Heavenly Father is getting ready to set us up, man. He's gonna take down. He's getting ready to take down this kingdom, and then with these guys that were in the dirt. Out of that is gonna come your diamonds and your rubies. Out of that fire, which is what's gonna become marvelous, something great, something to marvel at, man, something to be followed. You know, an example to the rest of the world on how to conduct yourself, man. Because once you make it out of this filth, man, and the scriptures say that all righteousness is as filthy rags. Once you get past that hour of temptation, man, you proving yourself worthy to hold that stature, man, to be a king, to have dominion over the rest of the world, man, in a righteous state.
It says, this is 1 Corinthians 15 and 36. It says, thou fool, that which thou sowest is not quickened, except it die. And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be, but bear grain, it may chance of wheat or some other grain.
Hey, read it again.
Yeah, it says, start from 36.
Yep.
It says, thou fool, that which thou sowest is not quickened, except it die.
Unless it died. Like there was a man that came up to the Lord and asked him how to get into the kingdom of heaven. And he said, you got to be born again. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Meaning what? That the old man, we gotta put that old man away. Yeah. That old man gotta go, man. And when you come into the truth, you can't come into this thing teetering the gate, you know what I mean? Or trying to revive that old man and try to give him life support, so to speak. You gotta let him die off in order for that new creature to come. Just like with a flower, you know what I'm saying? That old one to go, but in order for them buds gotta die out in order for something new to come about, man. That caterpillar gotta go in order for the butterfly to emerge, man. So what we've been taught, how we've been carrying ourselves and how we've been going about, that's all dead, man. That ain't gonna enter into the kingdom of heaven. Right. You can't enter into the kingdom of heaven like that. You gotta be born again. You gotta be renewed through the spirit and through the mind. You have to be brainwashed. You have to wash your brain full of that, get rid of that filth that you've been taught here in this world, man. Because everything has been completely backwards. So you can't go into the kingdom looking at the world from the eye of view that you once had. You know, you gotta get something new. Everything has to be new. What, bro?
Verse 37. And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be, but bear grain, it may chance of wheat or some other grain.
Right, and it talks about the tares in the wheat. The scripture talks about the tares in the wheat, and a wheat is something that you you pluck it up. You know what I mean? You get rid of that, man. So therefore, that
tares is what you pluck up and get rid of.
Yeah, stop it. You're right. The tares is something you get rid of. You know what I'm saying? Because it chokes it actually chokes. Right. It's choking the good seed. The good seed in the wheat. You know what I mean? It's hindering. So
right. So with that being said, as us being the wheat, we gotta get away from the tares, and that's speaking figuratively. We got to get up out of, like the scriptures say, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Right. For it is polluted and it will surely destroy you. We got to be different, man. We got to be different, and if that means just like when you got a lot of Jake who like to go to the gym, right? You exercising your muscles. You got to exercise the spirit in the same way. Go on fasts, pray. You know, whether it be, setting up like me, what I do, I'll set up a schedule and I'll try to follow the schedule. Those things strengthen your spirit, man. Let me read this. It says, but the Most High giveth it a body as it hath pleased him, and to every seed his own body. And now it's going into the other thing there. But the point I was trying to make, because the brother, you said something about it being a process. So right now, the seed has already been planted. When the Lord Yahweh Shai came, the seed got planted. So now the seed is underneath the ground and it's starting to take root into the soil, and it's starting to, you know, poke its head out and starting to sprout out of the ground. Yep. And that sprout is us, man. Yep. We got to be that sprout. Yep. You know, so like the brother said, it's a process. Yes, before we get pulled up in the chariots, we're gonna be changed in the blinking of an eye. But right, it's starting now. We always say that the laws being written in our inward part, that promise that's given to us, that's happening now. The pain from not keeping the laws and not being able to keep the laws, the turmoil that goes on in the earth is making us say, you know what, the law is better. The law is righteous. So that we're being changed now. So you gotta be different, man. You gotta be different.
This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse verse. I'll start at 21. Mm-hmm. If so be that ye heard of him and have been taught by him as the truth. I'm going to start at 20 so you can understand it. I bet ye have not so learned Yahweh Shai. If so be that ye have not heard him and ye have not been taught by him as the truth in Yahweh Shai.
Right. So we've been taught of Yahweh Shai and by Yahweh Shai through these scriptures. All right, go ahead.
That ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man.
Right, you have to put off your former conversation, man. And I was just thinking about this in the car because, like I've said before, I like listening to the Corey Holcomb show. And a lot of times, the stuff that he's talking about is silly, goofy stuff, you know. So I said, you know what? Let me turn this off and, you know, get my mind and the gears rolling by what the truth is saying, you know. So you got to put off that old conversation. You got guys in the world that you used to hang out with. They want to talk about some bitch that they fucked. They want to talk about some party that they went to, or they want to talk about this drink that they had, these new sneakers. You know, your mind is on something else. I can't even think straight when I'm talking to certain people, man, because I'm so focused on getting out of here and focused in. I let myself get immersed into my hope. The hope of my deliverance, I let myself get immersed in it, man. I can't even think about, you know, people talk about what they're gonna do in 5 years and in 2 years and even in 1 year. I'm immersed in my hope to get out of here, man.
You should feel uncomfortable around them niggas, man. Mm-hmm. You should not feel comfortable at all around them, man. Mm-hmm. It says,
So, hey, if those of you old friends out there that are listening, it ain't personal, man. We trying to get out of here. We're trying to get out of here. It's not that it is that we changed. It is that we changed. We trying to get delivered, man. The scriptures tell us that we have to give diligence to make our calling and election sure. And the only way we can do that is if we focus. The scriptures say this, that your eyes should be single. Meaning focus, man. You gotta be focused. You gotta be focused. You know, you keep your distractions at a minimum the best you can. You know, Satan is always doing his thing, but keep your distractions at a minimum, man.
It says, and that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. Right,
and when you do that, that's when people start to say you're different. You're different, because why? That old conversation, everybody's having that conversation. So when they see a young man such as ourselves trying to do something different, trying to have a different conversation, carry ourselves with some kind of character and integrity and dignity, then they'll say, oh, he's different. He's not like them other niggas, you know. And even Esau sees it, man. And the Edomites that are in their right mind, they'll say, oh, you got to watch that nigga. But you know, these regular average everyday Edomites, they flock to you. They like you. Oh, you ain't, you know, because you'll be at work and they'll be talking about Black Lives Matter and you'll say fuck Black Lives Matter. And they'll be like, oh, I like Joe. Joe is cool. He'll tell you Black lives, you know, aren't as important as these other niggas say it is. You know, and they'll start, you know, taking a liking to you, man.
And then you can get into why. Then you can begin to talk with logic. Right. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just cliches of the world. Right. Because the rest of the world is following whatever is being implemented out there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you're not following everybody else, by default, that makes you a leader. Mm-hmm. And then people follow you. They tend to gravitate towards you. You know? It says, verse 23, and be renewed in your spirit. Right. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
Right.
Because
it
starts here first, man. You got to change your whole mental, your whole way of thinking, man. And like the brother was saying, you were saying earlier, bro. You should be, the difference between the old you and the new you should be night and day, man. The people that used to chill around shouldn't even want to chill around you, man, no more, man. They shouldn't even want to. They shouldn't even.
With you, man.
Yeah.
Doom and doom
You
type
should.
shit.
And then it's this meme online, man. It's this guy. He's all drunked out. He's drunk. He's all laid out, and people are looking around. And then it says, y'all should have never invited me. Y'all know how I get. You know what I'm saying? But that should be like this sentiment, like y'all don't invite me here because y'all know how I am.
Right.
Y'all get to talking, I'm gonna get to cussing y'all out, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the beginning it's like this, but then you kind of get slick with it as you get more mature in the truth a little bit, man. You start throwing little jabs because you don't really gotta hit them with haymakers no more. Just the little stuff that you know what I mean. Yeah, I ain't with all that celebrating this, that, and throw little jabs at them, but they shouldn't want to invite you no more, man. They really should be calling you Muslim, man. I got a guy that came up to me the other day, and he was like, oh yeah, what you Muslim? Nah, man, I'm not Muslim, man. You know what I'm saying? They should be calling you all kind of names and shit like that, man. Yeah. Oh, this nigga a Christian now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Why? Whatever. You think what you want to think, man. You know, you're a nigger. It really, when you really get down into it, you really can't even have conversations with Jake on any type of level, man. Any type of intellectual. And then being in this truth, you should be wise in all different type of things, all different type of fields, whether it be history or the politics of what's going on. You should be able to talk to anybody about anything and be sharp with it, man. And have them iron at you at your wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Because and really the conversations that you have with a nigga or a regular Jake, it should bore you, man. You know what I mean? Because we have nothing in common, man. What are they talking about?
Old. Like to have to explain to somebody that just because they're white, that doesn't mean they're Edomite. I get aggravated. Like, why? You know, you should know this. You know what I mean?
Most of we be so
let me read this.
Yep.
This is 1 John 2:20. It says, "But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and you know all things."
Yeah, we have an unction to know all things, man. All things, brothers should be versed in, and then you take things from other brothers, man. You take things from your brothers. There's certain attributes or talents that your brothers have that they're great in. You make sure that you take those things from them, man. You listen to them and you abstract that from them, because that's part of the Most High creating a new creature in you. He don't got brothers around you with wisdom just for no reason. You know what I'm saying? They're around you so for you to learn something and you guys to build off of one another, man. You know, but some brothers may be good at this, some brothers are good at that. You extract little things that you can to become a better person. Always trying to grow, because Satan, he's always working. So if you idle, or you're not trying to progress in this truth, man, you're leaving yourself lacking, man. You're leaving you're slipping, man. You subject yourself to bullshit. So it's a race, like the scriptures say. You see brothers uploading shows constantly. That should motivate you to want to do the same thing, because
let me get this.
Yep, go ahead.
This is 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Yeah. The devil, Satan, through the spirit, he got his dominions. They walking about seeking whom they could devour, man. And then like for instance, I'll give you an example. If you see a hyena, a pack of hyenas, they could sense when there's a lion that's hurt. You know what I mean? A lion that's injured or something like that. A lion that's old, and if they by themselves, they're gonna attack that lion, man.
Let me give you this definition for the word vigilant.
Yep.
It says here, to watch, metaphorically, give strict attention to, be cautious, active.
Pay details, be conscious, watch what's going on, pay attention to your flaws, because you know Satan through the spirit will use your weaknesses against you, man. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention to your flaws, pray upon the things that you need strengthen. You know what I'm saying? That's what the scripture, that's what this Lord said. He said, use my name and pray. You got to pray upon things. My brother was going into earlier in 2nd Ezra, it'll tell you to pray that the days may be shorter. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that you got to pray for. You got to watch, though. You know what I'm saying? You got to pray.
Let me say this too, brother. Because this just came to me, because I sometimes do this. Just because you're sitting in the house and you're not sinning, that don't mean you righteous, man. You gotta be active. The word vigilant says you gotta be active. The scriptures say give diligence to make your calling and election sure. So don't think just because you ain't outside going to the club that you're doing the right thing. You gotta work. There's work to be done. There's a ministry that has to be done. and you gotta take part in that ministry, man.
Yeah, there's that saying offense is man, I forgot it. I think it's something to the effect of offense is the best defense is offense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just being on the offensive, just being in the ministry, being in the world is your best defense, rather than just like you said, just sitting back on the couch thinking you're doing nothing. That leaves room for Satan to slip in and do something. You know, being slothful, just thinking you idle. The scriptures say the Lord gonna catch some of you being idle, just standing there doing nothing, man.
Do it, man. You'll find yourself 2-3 months didn't do no shows or read nothing. Look, man, do the work. And if you're not making a show, you should be putting together a show. If you're not putting together a show, you should be thinking about a show that you've done.
Meditating one.
Man.
Or watching shows, reading the word. You know, go ahead, bro.
It says to take heed, reach through remission and indolence, some destructive calamities suddenly overtake one.
Yeah, to take heed because, and the reason why you're taking heed because of destruction, right? Just the reason why we're taking heed, the reason why we're doing work is for salvation. Salvation is to be, when you salvage something, you deliver something out of some type of trouble. You know what I'm saying? If your house was on fire and you managed to salvage your old wedding ring or some old jewelry, but the rest of the house is gonna burn down. So knowing that this house that we're in is gonna be burned down, man. So we want to take heed. And we want to watch for the sword, watch for the times that's coming to spread the message. Because again, I got that from you, bro. What you said, you said it last week. You said a lot of people don't understand that a lot of this is about the ministry, man. It's about the work, man. Like we're the only ones that really seem to understand the parables of what the Lord was talking about. Most of those parables was talking about doing the work. You know what I'm saying? It was about working, man. You know, so most of this,
it says. He who denied me before the world, I shall deny before my Father. So how else are you gonna proclaim it to the world unless you're doing the ministry, unless you're doing your service? You know, so like
I mean that's it, man. A lot of this is just simply doing the work, man. A lot of it is doing the work, man. Just doing the work of the Father and pushing out the shows because this is the information that needs to get out. Beginning with the going back to the beginning of the topic. New creature. Right. This is the information needed. If the elders didn't do the work, how will we be new creatures? How will we stand before you? How are we able to? And then it's not just a thing of us being online. It's something. This wisdom is something that you apply to your life. I can't stress that anymore. You had this guy in Milwaukee that was saying, I wouldn't read the Bible. I would just watch shows and regurgitate. This wisdom and knowledge that through the Spirit that the elders are giving us is stuff that you need to apply to your life to make things. I don't want to say easier on you because the truth is not going to be easier, but for you to get understanding on how to go about. Because even when things are harder, if you understand why you're going through them, it makes it that much. It's comfort. That's the word I'm looking for. It's comforting. You know.
I think easy is a word you could use, and simply because it doesn't make it. Don't confuse easy with simple. It's not. It's a task at hand, but it's better. When you've made habits of the ministry, when you make a habit of doing the show, it comes like that to you. We was having a conversation coming out of the car. We did a show. This is what the conversation built up your spirit for us to put the show out. So when you get in the habit of that the scriptures say to be in all manner of holy conversation and godliness, when you're in holy conversation. A show is nothing more than a conversation. It's something that you say to your brother.
It's natural.
It comes natural. Just like when you, let's say I'll use a basketball analogy. So when you first start playing, you can't dribble with your offhand, right? But the more you dribble with your offhand, a left to right crossover seems easy after that. Doing a layup with your left hand becomes second nature. So you got to do it until it becomes second nature. So easy is a good word to use. You got to work until it becomes second nature, man.
Albert Einstein, that devil, it's Sir Isaac Newton. One of his laws of physics is an object in motion wants to stay in motion, an object in rest wants to stay in rest. If you just chilling, you're standing home, you want to rest, man.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You're gonna have the tendency of just wanting to do that. But if you're always working, you're always in the ministry, you just want to keep working.
Right.
I want to get the brother up to see if we could get a show and you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? You fiend for it.
So let me
He was reading when you bust out this.
Yeah, I read it.